And do you know what, mate? Despite what people say, I actually love your laugh. Most people love your laugh. I think it's 80-20.
In what way?
80% love it.
There's still a 20% who don't.
I think Jacob voted all that 20% on the poll.
Fuck Jacob anyway.
No, I'm only messing. Do you know what we should start doing though? More remote sessions. Do you know, like going to people's businesses, stuff like that?
I'd love to. It's just it is hard at the moment. Do you know, with everywhere being shut.
Do you know who we could go and see?
Who?
Cutthroatpete.
The barber Cutthroatpete?
Yeah, mate. He said he's keen.
When? Today?
No, I think he's in work today.
Right, who's next?
Even if it was today though, how would we get there? We don't drive.
Do you know we could get there?
Oh, don't even start with this stupid teleportation thing. What are you gonna do? Just grab me wrist and click your fingers? It doesn't work like that. You're in the real world, lad. Doesn't work like that. It's not fucking Marvel now. Anyway, what I think we should do is just get a taxi, or you know what? Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll grab your wrist and I'll just click. I'm off, mate.
Been a while since we've done that. Sick of it.
Cheers, lads. Cheers.
Straight in this week, our guest this week, Cutthroatpete.
Yeah, hello, nice to be here.
In his fantastic space.
It is a lovely space you've got.
Thanks for having us.
First thing we noticed when we come was the bike. Can we get a little shot of the bike in, Jacob?
You're getting home on that, won't you?
Give me a party home.
Yeah. You'd pump them tyres up like that. What is that? Is that even a chopper?
It's like, I don't know what
An
they
OG
call them, like
chopper?
a cruiser or a chopper. Yeah, do you have them in like LA and, you know, like beach cruisers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine a bit of easy on.
I rode it and I felt like Debo, you know, fucking massive on this like kid's bike.
Sick, that. So how old is that bike? Is it like an original?
No, it's brand new. You can buy them
yeah.
new, yeah. But it's like obviously in the style of like the
older bike, yeah.
amazing, yeah.
Boss. No brakes, no?
It's got like a coaster brake, so you like pedal backwards.
Oh, we like in the dam?
Yeah.
Boss, that. Sick,
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I've never used a bike like that.
No.
I've never used a bike like that with your brake
No,
backwards.
Have you never
it's,
been on
you
a
have to
bike?
pedal backwards.
I've been on a bike.
No. Like in the dam?
Only me Carrera
In
though.
Amsterdam?
No.
No, you brake, because I remember I pedal backwards, you know, when I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And I was flying in the dam and it just went like that. I was like, what the fuck?
No, I've only been to Amsterdam once.
Have you?
And it was like, we went in January and it was freezing. I think it was a bit icy.
Won't be getting on the bikes then.
Yeah, so we thought, nah, I'm not going on the bikes. Should have, maybe. In hindsight, maybe next time I will.
I reckon everyone's got to go to the dam.
Yeah, at least
Like
once,
a
haven't you?
passage, you know?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Especially at Vondel Park. We've been to Vondel Park.
Yeah.
Unbelievable,
What a place.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's it. Like when I went, I don't reckon I left a mile radius of like the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
No need
Literally no need to.
Yeah. Nah,
The thing that got me surprised with the dam, more because the first time I went, I didn't know what to expect, and I was only like 18, 19. I was in uni, I remember that. And like, my only mate was like, do you want to show me the red light district is? I was like, go ahead, yeah, Sam. But we were in the Mackies at the time. So I was like, walking in casually. I think I had to still have my milkshake in my hand. And he was like, we're here. And it was like 30 seconds.
It's mad, isn't it?
I was like, what? It's like,
This is it,
I'm surprised now. Like, I thought it'd be like,
Stashed away.
proper stashed away. Like, do you know what I mean? But no.
The kids walk on the way to school past the
Yeah,
game,
it's mad, isn't it? But tourist families go past, like kids, mum show the kids, like, oh, this is the red light district. Like, mad. Boss, isn't it?
Out of all the cities in the world, I think I could live in Amsterdam. And I've only been once and only went in a mile radius.
We said this last week,
live in
didn't
that
we?
little block.
We said this last week because it's not like a city, is it? It's like there's no like high rises or nothing. It's like going back in time a bit, isn't it?
Boss architecture, innit? I love how the buildings are. They're all like thin and high and
coming apart.
I love it.
Oh, just remembered before we get started this week, even though we've started, got a present for you too. One for you, Pete. One for you, Jacob. One for you, mate. Yeah. Forgot to bring.
Had to bring the other host one.
Nice one. Thanks.
Oh, mate.
Do we open them now? Or? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, mate, that's brilliant.
I've been saying you should get these for ages.
And also,
No way.
I love your orange handle.
it's a
Boss,
boss
that.
mug. Do you know, like,
Yeah.
like the
Proper
drinking
mug.
of it?
Yeah.
Like, I opened it and my mum went, "That'll be a good cup of tea." That.
Yeah,
And it's enough
yeah.
volume in that.
Good handle in it.
Good
That's
handle.
perfect. That's
Do you know what mugs are proper big and like
Sports
sports
direct.
direct ones? They're about 2 litres in every one.
You can't have a cup of tea in there. Yeah, I only brought 2 in a rush, so you'll have to wait till next week, mate.
Oh, that's
As well,
like,
to be honest, we could have had a 0% in the
I've done one every episode.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
could have all sorts in
yeah.
there. Yeah. Boss, man. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for having us here as well.
No worries at all.
I've been looking forward to this since
I know,
we arranged it.
It's
Boss.
been in the as soon as we found out, I was like, I can't wait to get down and
Yeah.
see the place and that. To be honest with you, I look like we done one with Mike.
Yeah.
Just a boss setting to do a podcast,
Yeah,
a barbershop, I
barbershop,
reckon,
yeah,
because like.
yeah.
I feel like if you go to barbers individually anyway,
You're gonna talk. And
you put your heart in your sleeve, don't you? You just
Yeah.
you just done chatting shit, don't you? So
Yeah.
it's a great place to
Well, Mike
chat
was,
shit.
Mike was saying this in Manchester, they're bringing in like counselling and therapy courses for barbers
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like spot the signs of people who are suicidal because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
know like the usual chirpy customers might drop off of it.
Yeah.
So like people just say all sorts.
Yeah.
I imagine to
You don't
barbers.
realise, do you?
There's actually an organisation called the Barber Lions,
Okay.
and they offer education to barbers. You can do the course, and that's what they educate you in, the spotting the signs of depression and anxiety, and then obviously being able to offer advice to men about
Yeah.
them kind of problems that they'll have. So it's fucking unreal, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Especially
amazing.
for men, because like men won't talk as much as women traditionally, so they will in the barber's chair though. So that's what it's like.
Yeah,
That's,
definitely.
what are they called? The Barber and Lions.
The Barber Lions.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's boss. Are you involved with them? Or you just,
I'm not, but it's obviously something that I really appreciate and something that I
Yeah.
would get involved in. To be honest, I've got loads of stuff on my plate, so it's
Yeah, exactly,
it's
yeah.
always tough to take on new things. But yeah, I love what they do, and I think it's a charity, so I'm sure they raise money.
Yeah.
But when I work at hair shows and I work at industry events and stuff like that, and they're
Yeah.
always they've always got reps there doing like talking about it and sharing stories, and what they do is incredible. Like
Yeah.
But I do know there are more starting up like that now, so there's more people starting to do them kind of things, educating barbers in how to spot
how
the
to,
signs.
yeah,
and,
of course, and how to respond to them
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. The amount of times I've spoke to clients and said to them, listen, I've got a number there. It sounds like that. for something that you might need. I've said it to them when I've referred them to, because I've had therapy myself, for anxiety and stuff. So
Yeah.
I've referred them to the therapist that I went to see, and a couple of months down the line, they're back to themselves again, and you see them, and you're like, fucking hell, mate,
Yeah.
it's great to see you back to how you were, and they say, thanks for the advice, and I went and sorted it, and so yeah, like you say, it's a place where men will have a conversation, they'll open up, and I to be honest, I feel privileged that men will talk to me in that way, and
Yeah.
people feel comfortable in my presence to open up like that. So yeah,
Boss,
definitely
yeah.
a barbershop thing.
I know it's the thing, like especially when you're at the chair, like in the chair, the barber's chair, like you just don't have to say sometimes, and then sometimes like the first thing that comes to your mind, like might just be a little sign that there's an issue or something like that. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Like,
I googled, what did I google for the other month? Oh, we were googling when we had, so Mike, my barber, we had him on, and we were like, what would be a good conversation to have, and we were doing a bit of research and that, and I googled like funny questions to ask barbers, or questions to ask barbers, and it come up with like people who like might have social anxiety, and for some certain people, going to barbers is a big thing, because
Yeah,
they
isn't
think
it?
he's going to speak to me, and
Yeah.
I can't talk, and until I read that article, I was like, oh yeah, some people don't want to go to barbers
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
even that in itself, like me and him don't shut up, hence we do this. You know what I mean? Can't wait to get our haircut. But to some people, it's like my little brother, when he was younger, he was dead nervous, and he
Yeah.
used to be like sat in the chair, like
Yeah.
not know how to respond.
One of my customers works in a pharmacy, like a dispenser, he's a dispenser.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him telling me he dispensed some diazepam to this fella, and on the label it said, take 1 hour before your haircut or something. And obviously this fella must have
Yeah.
had like, traumatic experience, or not like getting his haircut.
Okay.
And yeah, he was prescribed diazepam.
To go and get his
to go and
haircut?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a
So-
good job there's people out there who like yourself, and people open up to her, like the barber.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
so going to your actual barbering, how long have you actually been barbering for?
I've been doing it I started when I was 17, I'm 36 now, so what's that?
19 years.
19 years, yeah.
Quick maths.
I'm putting years on you. He's got the 16. I was like 19. Sorry, Pete. So, yeah, no, 16 anyway. I must have got it wrong.
Yeah, 19 years. So
Boss.
it's changed.
So was you an
massively in
apprentice
that
and all
time.
that? Did you do all
Yeah,
that way?
full, like, I was an apprentice for more or less a year, did a year's apprenticeship.
Boss.
Went to college, did all the correct way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mad because I remember like being around the industry and being treated like an apprentice, and you do some shit, you know, people send you for glass hammers and all that, do all that kind of stuff.
Bubbles for spirit level and all that.
And then now, it's mad because you can go to, you know, there's places, I think there's somewhere in the pool doing it, and you pay them $7,000 and you can be a barber in 10 weeks, do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it's within
Do you think
the
that's a
industry.
good thing?
No, not at all, because within the industry, you know, I had to do a year where I was brushing the floor, I was mopping, I was dusting the shelves, I was making tea, and you know, I did all the shit jobs that no one wanted to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Clean the toilet, and I felt like I'd earned my place when I started cutting hair.
Yeah.
I've done all that, and then the new apprentice would come in and he'd have to do that, and
You'd be sending
No.
them out for glass hammers.
yeah, send them to the tartan painting. But yeah, but now, as I say, you know, someone get a loan for $7,000 or $5,000 or whatever, and you know, you can be a barber in 10 weeks. But there's a big one in London. I won't mention the name, but they're churning people out weekly. Do you know what I mean? Like they have maybe, I don't know how many, but they have so many classes running at a time with maybe 30 or 40 barbers in each class, and obviously all them people are paying thousands of pounds, and they got me down to judge like an end of course competition,
Like a graduation type thing?
yeah,
is
like
it?
a graduation competition, yeah. And I just remember seeing some of the people and thinking, wow,
They shouldn't be with clippers next
yeah,
to it.
definitely. One fella tried to go all out and do like a pattern in some fella's head, and then used the cutthroat to define the pattern, and ended up like blood rushing down the side of this fella's head. And
What?
I went over.
I'd be
and I was
asking
like,
for my money back if I was
his
in.
hands, his hands were shaking, and just thought, wow, like it's such a shame because these people are getting pushed into the industry and like they're not getting the chance to
Like
you know,
nurtured.
yeah.
Like in that year cleaning the floor, I imagine you learned so much just
Oh, mate,
conversations and watching.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, watching
what it's
was,
about, innit?
was key. Yeah, and anyone like there was a lad here when you lads turned up before, and he was buying some, you know, one of my new hoodies or whatever. But he said to me, he messaged me on Instagram about becoming a barber. It's like an interest he's got, you know, wanting to get into the barbering industry. So yeah, you know, it's whenever people do ask me advice, I say to them, it might sound, you know, great to be able to go and pay a couple of grand and do a course and be a barber in 10 weeks, but like it'll take you another year and a half of, you know, being in a shop and observing before you'll be anywhere near ready to go on the floor. So
When you
it's
can
a-
go
it's
to
a
college
waste
for
of money.
free still, I
That's it.
imagine.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is it free college like now? That's a
I
thing?
think if you're
Is it?
at a certain age, I think
Yeah, it is,
under
isn't it?
18
Yeah.
or 19 or whatever you can.
So that still goes on. People still go to college to do it
yeah,
the
there's
traditional
still,
way.
Yeah, still
But
an
this is
MBQ.
like
Yeah.
the new wave, is it type thing?
Yeah. But the mad thing is, in this country, there's no legislation, so you could open a barbershop tomorrow and like.
And never have cut hair.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you could be banging out skinheads or doing whatever you want. There's no legislation to say that you have to be qualified to open a barbershop.
Oh, okay.
So that's why there's, you know,
Is there in other countries? Yeah.
Yeah. So if I wanted to go and work in the States, I'd have to do like maybe a more basic
Oh, yeah, I've
course,
heard of that, yeah.
like maybe a cosmetology, you know, certificate, or you know, I'd have to get some kind of qualification over there for me to be able to go as a resident and work there. They don't just allow people to come in, whereas this country,
Even the likes of yourself,
yeah,
who's got a
even like
brand and
myself,
stuff,
yeah. Like I can go and work in there for, you know, a brand or you know, a client,
But
or
not
stuff
open
like
up.
that. But yeah, I couldn't go and open a barbershop without, you know, my qualifications. Whereas in this country, you've got people coming from all over the place, opening barbershops on every street. You know, some streets in this city, there's 5 or 6 barbershops, you know, on the one street. And
Smithtown Road.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
literally
yeah.
like there's the top end. There's loads. Well, I get my haircut on Smithtown Road. To be fair,
yeah,
I'm trying to think how many did it.
There's
There must
a
be
lot.
over. There was about 15. I reckon. There
Yeah,
literally is
yeah,
about
yeah.
50. There's so many.
Yeah.
There was
There's
a
a lot of
barber's by
barbershops.
ours when we were growing up. Like, I think he's in prison now. But everyone knows. Everyone who's from by ours watching this will be like, I know exactly. I won't name names in case he's not in prison. Protect yourself. Nah, but he was proper sound. I went a few times, but like, you go in and he'd been over the boozer on his dinner and thinking back now, he definitely didn't have a qualification. He just opened the barbers, I think.
yeah.
He was a sound fella, like, but
Yeah.
I remember thinking, this is a mad setup for barbers. This. He was there and gone straight away. So that's interesting. That there's no legislation.
Do you think that's a disadvantage for like
for us?
yeah?
And I was
In
speaking
the
to
industry
someone,
yourself, yeah.
I was speaking to someone about it the other day, and the sad thing is, you know, these barbershops are opening up and charging £6 a haircut, you know what I mean? And then you've got the likes of myself, like my brands and that, and we're charging 4 or 5 times that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not, they're not pinching our clients, or they're not, you know, if someone wants to pay £6 for a haircut, they're going to go and pay £6 no matter what. They're not going to come here, do you know what I mean? But I just think it drags the whole industry down as a whole industry. You know,
Yeah.
that there is that low point. Whereas if there was, you know, the mean price was, you know, I don't know, 15 quid,
Yeah.
then it would keep the industry at a certain point. So
Do you not think that's a new, like a generational thing though? Because like my old fella, he would still go into any barbers and get his haircut. Is barbering, obviously you've been involved a lot longer, is it not like kind of men looking after themselves a bit more? Is that not bred a new wave of barbers? Or has there always been like a high-end barbers for throughout time?
yeah,
if that makes sense.
there's always been. I think like when you look at the Beatles, say for instance, so they
of course,
obviously they grew the
bobs.
mops out, and I think around that sort of time when I've looked into it, men started going to women's salons then, you know, to ladies' hairdressers, women, whatever you'd call it.
And were barbers a
away
thing then though? Like,
barbers were a thing, but they couldn't cut long hair or they didn't want to cut long hair. So yeah, men would grow the hair out to look like the Beatles, and they'd end up going to a women's salon. Whereas now we're educated, and you know we educate ourselves to be able to cut long hair, and the industry's definitely grown, and you know we've pushed the limit of the prices that you can charge. I charge, you know, a fair whack for a haircut, but I feel like justify it because the training I've done, and you know I travel a lot, and you've got to take into consideration all them things.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
like we were saying before, I'll travel around the world to see someone, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you don't just charge them for the haircut, you've got to charge for your time and your travel. And so, yeah, the industry's definitely grown, and that's a great thing. But as I say, there are still people now opening these shops and, you know, charging £5-6 for the haircut.
Yeah, just as a venture type thing.
They must be having to do 50 haircuts a day to be making any money, do you know what I mean? 'Cause
I don't like it when my hair's rushed out at all. I like it when you spend it, like people spend a bit of time on it, like when my barber does it now. Like, but if they just like do like that, the back and side and do a little quick scissors on top, and like throw 6 quid at you, like fair dues. But if they're taking the time, and I think a lot more men appreciate a nice haircut now, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why it's good, obviously, to
venture out.
Do you know what I mean?
It's a ritual for me going to barbers.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
is.
I make sure my day is free around it. I'll go and get a scran after it or a coffee.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I have a coffee in the bar. I'm like, it's part of me self-care ritual. Do you know, like,
Yeah,
on its
yeah,
part,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't wait to go to the barbers and I can't.
Yeah.
Rather than just like, me alpha, I'll just come in this morning. I had a big mop head this morning, and then when he come back into the room, I was like, shave your hair? He's like, yeah. So but he would go to the barbers for that if they were open. Do you know, he would go, well, they are open.
I'm the complete opposite to you. I walk to barbers in my slippers.
Yeah.
So I get that. It might be a ritual for you. Me, mine's just
Yours is
Slippers
on
on.
your to-do list.
slippers on.
No, yours is just taking something off your to-do list, get me a haircut, boom, it's cut.
I call me lunch. You know what I mean?
See,
Across.
nah, for me, it's like I'm going to make a day of this. Get a scran, do something after it on my own. It is.
Proper cute.
Proper cute. No, but it is. I don't know, like, coming here is different to going to one of them barbers.
Oh,
where
of
you
course,
spend the
lad,
barber.
of
Like,
course,
it's like,
lad.
I can't wait to go down there, see what, don't know, like, my barber's got FIFA and that, do you know what I mean? Get the
Dad, you
tunes
don't
on.
play FIFA, by the way.
I know I don't play FIFA, but I watch people playing FIFA.
Can't wait to watch a match in there later.
Watch the match, the 7-minute match. Yeah, thanks. I'll tell you, my little brother said that to me. He was like, oh, my mates are asking me to get FIFA. And I was like, you'd be good at FIFA. But like we were saying before, he was like, I haven't got a clue about footy though. And I was like, yeah, that's why I'm gutted when the boys are playing FIFA when we're out. I'm like, oh,
It's offside, that, and he's like,
no, I know about it, but
Somebody
like,
messing.
I wouldn't know what team to pick for FIFA, or neither would Arteta know who to put where. I just press Liverpool, bump.
that's what you need to do, though.
Get beat 7-0. But that's a nice segue. That moves on to how you got into like cutting big named hairs and cutting more like higher profile hairs. You were saying it was footballers at first, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was always, I always had a vision in my head of where I wanted to be as a barber. So
Yeah.
like I started my barbering journey or career or whatever at 17, and
Have you always wanted to be a barber?
yeah, from when I was in school I was interested in it. When I was in school and just after I left school I was a shop putter. I was a Great Britain on the Great Britain team for shop put.
You said the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, so obviously I was doing athletics, and when I was in school, work experience sort of age, I said to my teacher, I was like, can I go to the barber shop? My barber had said to me, yeah, come here, come and do your work experience.
Yeah.
Dead interested in doing it, and our career woman said to me, nah, you're not doing that, you're too into your sport and that, go and do something sporty. And she sent me to like an outdoor pursuits place, which was shit, you know what I mean? I didn't enjoy it. But yeah, I always had it in the back of my head that I thought, yeah, you know, I'd love to be a barber. So yeah, doing athletics up until I was 17. I carried on athletics when I first started barbering. But obviously working long days in the barbershop, it just kind of affected me training and stuff. So I thought, you know, make a career out of it. And yeah, I'd say pretty much from the word go, I knew that there must be a way into, you know, a bit of a higher end barbering and doing something that I'll enjoy, you know, working for myself. And throughout working in different barbershops and stuff, I picked up different tips and ideas. And, you know, I always kind of knew I wanted to do what I'm doing today, weirdly.
It's that division.
Yeah.
Boss, I love that.
Yeah. And yeah, it was just, my granddad was a big one. He was like, you know, telling me kind of how to go about it, and you've got to push yourself, and you've got to, you know.
Was he in business himself?
No, my granddad, he was a printer. He worked in the printers. But he was just a cool guy, do you know what I mean? He was just a top man, and he said to me, you know, this is how you've got to go about it, and market yourself and do something that other people aren't doing. And I took that advice and I did that a little bit. And then, yeah, I just kind of got lucky with mentioning, you know, the bigger clients that I've got. So I was working in a shop that I had with my brother at the time, and one of the young Everton lads put a tweet out just saying, recommend a barber. And luckily a load of my clients were blues and, you know, recommended me. So I got the message, came in, got his haircut, recommended a few of the other Everton lads, and then from there, obviously, they've stayed with me. And one of the great things, I worked in a barber shop in town, a big like salon barber shop in town when I was young. And the manager always used to say to me, I can guarantee if I book someone in with you, they're your client, and you know, you've got a little way with clients, and people
Gift of the gab.
Yeah, people just love being your client. So he said, you know, that you've done well to build a client base, and that always kind of stuck in my head. And with the footy lads, it's been the same. So, you know, that's maybe 9 years ago I started cutting their hair, and they're still my clients now, and the opportunities they've given me is, you know, it was incredible. It blows my mind still that I get to, you know, do the things I do. But yeah, it's, you know, that's where I wanted to be, and I found by just finding my way. But it's a mad one, because I do get, you know, DMs on Instagram off young barbers saying, how do I become a footy player's barber? And there's no answer to that. You know what I mean? You've got to go to work. You've got to go to work. You've got to cut hair, and hopefully one day one might come in, or, you know, the chance might arise. Yeah.
You asked my barber, didn't you? So he went to get his haircut in a barber's we know, and said, oh, I've got Pete on. And he's like, oh, I messaged Pete and said, any advice for me, when he was just starting out. And you said to him, go to appointments.
Is that something about going like 3 months in advance or something? He said something about 3 months.
He said he just reached out to you because he admired you and was like, have you got any advice for me? And if he's told me a similar story as well, and you said to him, book appointments, and that way you can manage your time more effectively and book it and fill it up and that, and like that's changed his whole business model.
He said that bit of advice like plummeted me to where I am now. Like,
no way.
To get somebody else,
plummeted is a negative word. Skyrocketed.
Sorry. Do you want to come on me mouth? That doesn't sound like that.
Skyrocketed, yeah.
Skyrocketed, yeah.
And appointments, most barbers now are like, like most successful barbers, appointments you have to book in, which I personally love. There's nothing worse than going to barbers and you sat there for 4 hours, like.
Especially like through school, I used to go to barbers, and it went appointment only, and like on a Saturday you might be there, or after school you might be there for like an hour before you even get seen.
Can you?
No.
But even that, so people are messaging you for advice, and it's working. Like little bits of advice work. So
and I love that. I love that side of. You know,
like mentoring.
I love the way my job's gone like that, and like, you know, people will reach out and ask you, and you know, I'm not like I'm not selfish. Do you know what I mean? I'm always, before I opened this shop where we are now, I messaged a fella in Holland and a fella in LA that I've got to know through social media, and they both at the time had one chair barbershops like I used to have here.
Yeah.
And I just said to them, how do you go about it? Like, what booking system do you use? How is it having a barbershop with one chair? You know what I mean? And they gave me so much good advice, and you know, I still speak to them now, and I still say thanks so much for, you know, for giving me that advice. And so you know, I try and be like that with other people, and you know, be open and give them good advice.
A rising tide floats all ships, doesn't it? If everyone else is doing better, you're doing
Yeah.
better.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it, yeah. There's no need
Positivity
to be
all
all
around,
positive,
innit?
isn't it? Like
Yeah.
if they're doing better, you're doing
Yeah,
better. So yeah,
definitely.
Boss, I love all that.
So when did you become like start off as a barber, Pete? When did you become Cutthroatpete? And when did the sort of brand sort of
It was your
come
Twitter
about?
handle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's
So
boss, that. So where did that come from? Cause you was a barber.
yeah,
Or-
so I had the shop with my brother, as I say. I was 24 when I opened my first shop with him. And obviously Twitter around that time, we're talking 12, oh, how old am I? Yeah, 12 years ago.
You sure? I'll do
Like, am I, what, 28? Yeah. No, so yeah, you know, Twitter had just come around, and I thought, oh, you know, I need a Twitter, and I need to get on this. Everyone's talking about it, and
From a business point of view as well.
yeah. I've always enjoyed stuff like that. You know, I was on Facebook. Obviously, everyone's on Facebook, and people were talking about Twitter, and I thought, and then obviously you have to have a handle, don't you? You know, and I was thinking, oh, what can my Twitter name be? I need something sound, you know, sounds good, and I thought of it myself. I just thought, oh, Cutthroatpete, and it's got a good little ring.
It is
to
a great
so,
name. I think
is
it is
a
a great name.
Yeah.
So I just just went with Cutthroatpete, and
Just thinking it'd be a Twitter name.
yeah. It was me. That's all it was. My Twitter name, and then, as I say, you know, I started getting these clients in off the back of my Twitter. You know,
Yeah.
Clients recommending these lads to me through Twitter, and then they'd tweet me then the footy lads and stuff saying nice one for the haircut, and then all of a sudden my Twitter just, you know, blew up, and that was crazy. And then obviously Instagram come around, started Cutthroatpete with that as well, and then I just love the idea of t-shirts and, you know, merchandise, and I love fashion and clothes, and I love that kind of thing anyway. And Robbie mate did my logo for me.
I've got a Laces t-shirt on actually.
Oh yeah.
You know that one, the Run DMC one.
Yeah, brilliant. The Shannon was that, yeah. Robbie's a genius, isn't he? Do you know what I
It's
mean?
creative. He done my logo for the Epiphany Coach. He done the logo for the podcast.
yeah.
He's just you tell him something, give him a few references, and you're like, that's better
just
than what I
come,
thought.
yeah,
Wow, everything. Yeah. He is a genius.
I've just totally rebranded. All
Love
my
that
stuff,
rebrand,
getting
it's
the
boss.
windows done, and but yeah. So as I say, I started from Twitter, Twitter handle, built it up from there, and then I decided then that, you know, the next step in this kind of vision that I had in my head of where how I wanted to be working was to open a one-chair barbershop in the city centre, and I opened this place, and, you know, this was the first Cutthroatpete shop, and then it's carried on growing. I've had, you know, not a massive turnover of staff, which is amazing. You know, I've had people working with me for the past 5 years.
How many barbers have you got at the moment?
There's 3, and a new one starting in this shop. And then my shop on Jamaica Street, there's 3 in there as well.
Boss.
So yeah, you know, it's great having, and I kind of, from the experience that I've built up over the years and my outlook on business and stuff, I feel like I've got a good balance. So I always say to people when they come and work here, you don't work for me, you work with me, do you know what I mean? And
Love that.
I like that kind of vibe, and it just makes everyone look well more relaxed. And, you know, if someone's coming in and sitting down and paying good money for the haircut, then I want them to feel like they're part of something, you know, rather than coming in and just, like, you know, paying the money and thinking that they're paying me rent or whatever. I want them to think they're paying the money to be part of you know, the brand. And
It's an experience, isn't it, coming to barbers?
That's it, yeah. And it's the people that allow the brand to be what it is. You know, it's
of course.
Obviously I do my bit, but, you know, if there was no customers, there'd be no shop. So
Exactly,
I'm always really appreciative of clients, my clients, you know, the barbers' clients. And yeah, it's I've got loads more plans for the brand and for the, you know, for the shops, and obviously this has put a bit of a spanner in the works, the current situation, but it's exciting times for, you know, once we're back to normal, we've got a few cool things that we're going to do, and
I'm excited for that.
expansion.
The power of branding now. I don't know if you've seen, Pete put on his Insta the other day, someone from India messaged you, didn't he?
Yeah.
On Insta saying, like, I love your page, like, just keep doing what you're doing. On his bucket list was to come over and get a haircut.
Yeah.
Him come from Pete's, Just one day.
Sent me a picture of his bucket list, and on it was like, get a haircut by Cutthroatpete, and visit Liverpool, and stuff like that.
He was a big blue, wasn't he? Or something he said,
yeah.
Boss, that.
Oh no, John Stones. He was a fan.
A John Stones fan,
He said he wants to go to the Etihad, and get his haircut by me, But stuff like that, mate. It's
If he messaged you and said I'm in Liverpool, you'd have to cut his hair.
To be fair, I've had a lad from, where was he from? Singapore, and when I worked here in this space, my waiting list was I reckon my waiting list's always been around 2 to 3 months, you know, for like I book up that many months in advance,
Yeah.
so that like it gives me time to move stuff about or, you know, go and work
Plan
in
your
different
life,
places. Yeah. But anyway, this lad messaged me on Instagram saying, I'm over from Singapore, I've followed you for ages, any chance you'll cut me in? I squoze him in, do you know what I mean? And he came in and stuff like that. There's been people from America who have been in here. I've got little like gifts they're all in MySpace now where I work, but people have brought me stuff, you know. This little old fella from Texas, his son told him to come and visit my shop, and he brought me like this little pin badge, like a little star, like a Texas star or whatever.
Boss that.
And he said, oh, my son's told me I need to come and see your shop and need to come and meet you, and got photos with him and, you know, all stuff like that. And it's just, I think, bloody hell, I'm just a barber, do you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
The power of social media, it's just like
Power of
how you can
brand,
have the reach from that just off your phone at the end of the day, or the laptop, whatever it be.
Boss.
So like the clientele that you have, you built up, obviously you've got quite a few high profile names. Have you been in a situation where you thought, how have I ended up here? Like sort of.
Yeah. Quite a few times, and to be fair, that feeling doesn't get old. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one of them things. I don't know whether that's my personality. I've never asked anyone. I've got friends, you know, who have also got high profile clients, so I've never asked any of them whether they feel the same. But
That'll keep you young, that'll keep you alive. If it never wears off, you'll
That's
feel like
it.
every day. That's boss. I wouldn't ask them just in case they say no. You just want, because getting that kind of excitement and that, I imagine that's amazing every day.
Yeah. And it's, you know, I find myself in situations and I think, how the hell am I here? Do you know what I mean? It's
Love that.
yeah, it's mind blowing. But yeah, you know, I've been cutting hair for, like we said before, 19 years, and I don't get nervous as in cutting hair nervous, but like it's more like, bloody hell, I've got such and such in my chair here, do you know what I mean? And then you can kind of build it up into a bit of a situation in your head and start losing your mind a bit. So I try and keep myself like level in them situations, but
It's hard though.
yeah,
It's hard though.
yeah.
Of course.
But, yeah, you know, I've met some incredible people, and it's all just through, you know, my job.
Do you find with that as well, like you're like, oh my god, I'm cutting such and such as hair, and then they get there and you're like, oh, they're just a normal person. They know me the way. Yeah. I imagine that.
I cut. I was down in London a while ago working at Sky, like a Sky Arts, like studios, and I was there working for Daniel Radcliffe, and I did his hair, he went and did his filming and stuff, and I was in this makeup room, tidying my stuff up. This fella walked in, big long head of hair. I couldn't see who he was at first, and he was like, oh, I believe you're the guy for the haircut. And I looked, oh, bloody hell, it was Ray Winston, and he had hair right down by his shoulders. And I got onto it being him, and I felt proper shocked. And I was like, hey mate, you alright? And he was like, yeah, I believe you're the guy for the haircut. So I said, oh yeah, sit down. So anyway, I was like, how do you want it, mate? He was like, short back and sides. I was like, you sure? His hair was like mine when it's down, you know, shoulder length there, yeah. He said, I've been filming this thing in Ireland, and yeah, you know,
finally getting
I had to grow my hair out. He said, now I've finished the film and I can get my hair cut normal. So I give him a proper slick, you know, old school short back and sides.
And this was just by chance?
Yeah. He was at Sky Arts doing something, I think it was like a panel, or there was like this show that, as I say, Daniel Radcliffe was part of. And yeah, he just bowled in by chance. Bloody hell. So anyway, I cut his hair, and great time. I had a great chat with him. You know, I take my time and I cut hair. An average hair could probably take me an hour, do you know what I mean? So spent a good hour chatting to him and cutting his hair, and at the end of it, I had a hug with him and shook his hand, and it was only me and him in this room, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Incredible time. And at the end, what the hell, we had nothing. You know, I was paid for the day. So he said, oh, I can't have that. So anyway, he left. I wouldn't let him pay me. And then I was down the next day working for Sky again, but on a different location. And one of the team came up to me and passed me an envelope, and he said, oh, Ray left that for you. And he put me some money in an envelope and like wrote on the front, you know,
Nice
thanks for the haircut. And I thought, fucking hell, what, you know, I'd have paid him for the experience.
Yeah,
of course, yeah.
Meeting someone like that and being in his presence and just being around people like that's incredible. But yeah, you know, for him to do that,
It's nice.
it just makes you think, you know, people in that situation, you know, they've got everything, and
they forget about stuff like that.
Yeah. Whereas he obviously didn't, you know what I mean?
There's not many situations you can sit in a room with Ray Winston as well and be like, just to be normal as well.
That's
Do you know what I
it.
mean?
Yeah.
Without like people around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought if people change when they get fame and money, like they were probably going to change anyway, weren't they?
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
if people stay humble throughout everything, they were probably just like that. Like course. Like, I've met a few high-profile people, and I've my own self thought, wow, they're actually sound then.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
thought, like, why did I think they wouldn't be sound? Do you know what I mean? But that's just the perception you do
That's
get
it, yeah,
led
yeah.
to believe about celebrities.
Yeah,
is-
And it must be horrible for them people in that position because they must know that
People
you know,
think
people
I'm
are going to
be-
perceive that
Exactly,
they're a certain way. And, you know, I've met quite a lot of people who are really quiet and like reserved. And I've expected them to be dead brash and, you know, loud.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's because until they get to know, you know, people, then they are a little bit more.
Of course,
you know,
yeah. Been in the
reserved.
limelight.
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
The funny story I mentioned, are you alright for a bevy, bud?
Yeah,
Well, it's
I'm
not a
good,
bevy, it's a 0%. For anyone keeping track.
No, I'm good, thanks.
No. As Robbie told you about the Carragher story?
No.
So in that office, me and Robbie went to London one weekend. Bit like you were saying when you went to Greece and it was like in and out and 12 hours of madness. That's what London was like. He was like, can you come to London on Friday? I'm on a shoot. And
Robbie was?
Robbie was, yeah. And he was like, I want you to come with me. He was like, I've been told to bring someone, come with me, because I've done a bit of work for laces and that. And I was like, yeah, so I'd love to. He was like, we got the hotel sorted and that, just turn up, I'll get your ticket. So I was like, oh, packing my bag in that. Literally felt like, I don't even think we were there for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And he was telling me on the way down that Carragher was coming into that building and Rob had pulled the door.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So Carragher was coming in, Robert pulled the door, and there's like a metal box like around where the lock goes in. And as people use that as a handle, so as Rob's pulled it, someone's went, you fucking twat. And so he's looked, and Robbie said he's looked, and I went, shit, it's Carragher. Do you know? And then he was like, what? And he was like, he was a bit like starstruck, but also like, sorry mate, do you know what I mean? And then he said, he was like, my phone that off. And we were obviously coming to see you.
Yeah.
And then Robert told me this, and then on the way back, I think we got into London for like 10, and we were on like, I think the 9:30 train, do you know what I mean? And then we got into London for 7, we were on the 9:30 train, it was like just 12 hours and fully hungover, and he told me that. He was like, come back to the office and I'll give you the lift home, we just need to go to the toilet. So I sat in his office just feeling rough, like, oh, what a night. Madness. It was all rushed from like the Thursday till sat in your office. I was like, oh my God. And then as we were going down the stairs, I went to him, hey, make sure Carragher isn't on the other side of that door. And then he's opened the door and he was there. Hungover. And I just went, oh my God. I was like, and then he was shook and he went, you all right, lads? And then he was like, stay away from me, you. Do you know what I mean? Having a joke. And then I got in the car with Robbie and I went, does that always happen? Like, do you always see me? He was like, since the first time I seen him was when I done that, second time was you saying that. And I said, don't make sure Carragher's not there, thinking it was funny, and he was on the other side of the door. I'd had little capes, you know, I wasn't in no mindset for it, but that's one of the maddest stories I've got of like famous people. We sat in the car for like 5 minutes, like,
shut up,
I need a coffee. But yeah, even I imagine you get like, that's like one little glimpse of a story. I've got to imagine you have many stories like that with Ray Winston. My dad would love to meet Ray Winston, you know.
Really?
You've seen Scum?
Yeah.
What a film, Scum. We'll watch that when I move in.
We've got a big list of things to watch, by the way.
It's a hard-hitting film, but it's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
First film we're going to watch is Weekend at Bernie's. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Have you ever seen Weekend at Bernie's, Jacob?
Oh, and Barbershop, lads. I can't
Barbershop
believe
as
you've never
well.
seen Barbershop,
I haven't, no. Weekend. So it's like these two businessmen, and like they're trying to get in with this boss.
I've heard of it, yeah.
And he invites them to the this place, and Bernie dies, the boss.
Loose description that. To this place.
to his beach house. Sorry, to invite him to his beach house, and he dies there. And they're like, "What do we do?" And then the party happens.
Oh yeah, that's
so they
why
spend the
I've heard
whole
of it.
weekend pretending Bernie's alive, but it's so funny.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Who's in that?
Couldn't tell you.
Sounds
I think I know one of the fellas. It's American, like, but I recognise one of the fellas off something else, but I couldn't tell you his name. I'll get my phone up later on.
Are these your favourite films? Are they that have influenced you? Just barber-related films and that?
Barbershop, I love Barbershop, yeah, but then
Boss, innit?
obviously the other, I've seen Sweeney Todd, I haven't seen
What are the other two?
I haven't seen the Village Barbershop.
Oh, there's Barbershop.
Yeah, Barbershop too. I haven't seen the Village Barbershop, I should really watch it. And then obviously I've seen Sweeney Todd, but
I've never even heard of that Village
Who's
Barbershop.
Cedric the Entertainer?
And
he's,
Cedric the Entertainer?
he's the fellow with the white
Yeah.
coming in his
Cedric the Entertainer's like
a stand-up comedian,
the
isn't
OG
he?
stand-up comedian.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He's boss
he's
Cedric the
great.
Entertainer. Some name that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Powerful.
You've got to reach up.
You've got to live up to the
Yeah, you've got to live up to it, haven't you?
Cedric the Entertainer.
He's incredible in Barbershop.
Yeah, he's boss,
He's
isn't
one
he?
of one of my favourite characters.
I love that film, mate. I
Yeah.
can't believe you haven't seen it, you know. I'm genuinely shocked.
Yeah,
at
but
you.
there's a lot of films that, like, I can't believe you've not seen Weekend at Bernie's. I'm not seeing the film.
No, I'm not saying like, haven't you seen that? Because there's nothing worse than that when someone says, have you seen this?
But we asked for another film the other day, you hadn't seen
but
that
I
either.
thought Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski.
Have you seen The Big
No,
Lebowski?
I haven't seen that, no,
That's
no,
meant to be
no.
amazing as well.
Yeah.
It's a proper cult classic. It's just
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
What's your favourite film? Now that we're on the topic.
I reckon Space Jam, you know.
Space Jam
What
is a
a
great film.
Space
And
Jam
the new
is-
one's coming out, isn't
It
it?
is,
When,
yeah.
LeBron, isn't
the
it?
pandemic's over, yeah.
Oh, Space,
Blockbuster.
yeah. The soundtrack to Space Jam
Yeah,
as well.
that's
Fly
it.
like an eagle at the end.
Yeah.
What a film. You've seen Space Jam?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I've seen it loads.
Around that time, when that came out, that blew me mind, that film. And like, obviously, I'm not a massive film person. Like, I'll enjoy a film, but yeah, that's one of the best I've seen, Space Jam. Like,
It is a good film, isn't it?
I've watched it now, as an adult, and thought, yeah, it's a fucking boss film.
Yeah, it's got everything on it.
Yeah,
It's got
yeah,
absolutely
It's
everything.
like an hour 20 as well, long as well.
Is it?
I
Yeah.
think I watched it on Netflix like a few months ago. And we're
That was the
looking
last
for
time I
something
watched it. I'd seen it come on. I was like, wow.
It's like an hour documentary, and I thought, oh, Space Jam's on for an hour 20. Just sat there like, this is boss.
Yeah, it's so good, Space Jam.
The new one will be great. I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
especially
good,
with how much films come on. since
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
We touched on advice just earlier, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
giving advice to people, other people giving you advice. The topic this week, you asked the Insta as well, didn't you?
Oh,
What's
yeah,
the
yeah.
best advice you've ever been given? So, what's the best advice? Could be business, could be personal, that you've been given, Pete.
Wow. Do you know what?
Was it off your granddad, maybe?
I was just going to say, I reckon it's off my granddad,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely 100%. Because, when I was younger, I was probably very impressionable, do you know what I mean? Like, people who I looked up to, I would take their advice as golden, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'd really
Gospel,
take that as, yeah. And, there's stuff my granddad said to me, and it still rings with me now, do you know what I mean? To do with business and just being a nice person to other people, and like, appreciating customers and not letting things go to your head. And yeah, that's definitely the best advice I was given, because I feel like it's helped me in business, and I feel like it's helped me in life. I've met people, and I've got some great friends through business and just personal life. But I feel like the stuff that the fundamentals that he taught me and told me, just to be nice with people, and just to be a people person, and that's definitely the.
It costs nothing. I had this conversation today with someone, like, being nice, even if someone's horrible to you, you've still been nice, haven't you?
Yeah.
So it's just you've been nice, and if you get far in life being nice, that's a positive. And if you're just all right in life, at least you're still nice. It's just a win-win, isn't it?
My dad used to say to me, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
And I was like,
You're a nice lad. Do you know what I mean? You're
thanks,
very,
Shab,
you're very
you're a nice lad as well.
All nice people.
We're all nice. We're just nice folk. But
It's a shame we can't hug, innit?
Keeping our distance. No, but it's a system that has yet to fail me, being, I think, sound and nice. Because why wouldn't you be like it?
Yeah, you don't have to be overly nice,
No,
it doesn't have to be forced, but
just
I
be
just
alright,
think being polite and
Just smile.
Please and thank you.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
The best advice I've ever been given, I think I've said this when I was on that podcast, was off me dad. So my alpha, he's golden. He's technically my stepdad, but he's my dad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said to me once, I had a massive, probably one of my biggest life decisions so far. Like, I haven't been here that long, but at this point in my life, it was probably the biggest. And he was like, "Well, think about it this way: would you rather do it and regret it?
Yeah.
Would you rather not do it
regret
and sorry?" And he's used it twice now. Would you rather not do it
And regret
not doing it, or do it and then it happens and you think at least to give it a go?
That's it, yeah.
And I went, wow.
Yeah.
That's what I needed to hear. And
yeah.
I say that to people now, and like,
Yeah.
it's that advice is, what would you regret more, basically,
Definitely,
when you're older?
yeah.
And it stood me well since he first used it. And
Would you regret doing it, or would you regret not doing it?
I never knowing. So I was going to make this choice, and he said, what would you regret more? Not doing it, or doing it and then thinking, it didn't work out how I wanted to, but at least I had a go. Do you know what I mean? And that for me was, wow. I'd rather regret having a go and see it than not.
Yeah.
Especially if someone you respect so much.
Yeah.
And we're off probably two bits of advice I've had. I always remember my stepmom's 40th birthday, there was murder in the family. And like there was like between like a cousin and an uncle and all that. I remember my dad coming to me proper drunk and was like, "Jamie, I want you to never argue with anybody about politics and religion." And it stuck with me for life. Even now, somebody said mention something about politics, like I'm not going to get into it.
Stay away
My
from
dad saying that.
It's only going to end bad, isn't it? Yeah.
And I remember my granddad saying to me once, I can't remember how old I was.
He'd be full of advice, your granddad, mate.
he has. He was like,
He's travelled the world, this guy.
he's travelled, he's proper travelled, he's been everywhere. He was like, worked on the ship and everything like that.
Some funny
Just
stories.
a quick story. I got found mad. They got married. I'd never really thought of it. If they'd been married, like they're still alive, the pair of them. Luckily, they're both alive. They're both in the 90s.
Yeah.
And they're like been married 65 years.
Wow.
And they got married on December the 29th, which is weird, in a place in Bootle. And they were showing me at a church, a place in Bootle, in a church.
You in these places? Yeah, they got married in some place, yeah. Some destination.
So they got married in the church. They got married in
Place in Bootle. Like it's the baby.
So they got married to the church, and they were showing me photos. Like, I can't remember how long ago it was, but they showed me photos, and there's loads of stuff all around the church and like stuff in people's hair. And I was like, what was that? They went, there was all holes in the church and it was snowing.
Funny that.
So they got married on the 29th because I think it was more of a generational thing. Like, if they got married, they wanted to get it done because he was going away on a cruise and come back with all this money. 6-month cruise. So they got married. They're like, oh, you're coming back with loads of money. We're going to start life as a family. And then they can come back with a penny. But he always said to me, Jamie, whatever you do, I don't want you to settle down till you're 28.
Really, yeah.
And even now, I think I've got another 3 years till I settle down.
That's another solid advice I've had off my dad was you should always live with your mates. That he was like that's the best thing I've ever done, and I think he was just telling me how boss of a life he's had. But he was like, honestly, the best decision I ever made was moving in with a group of mates, and none of us, like my older brother and sister, have done it, and now I'm moving in with fucking soft dollies. Yeah, my alpha is like, he's
Into
like,
this lovely place.
moving into his place. But he lives by Penny Lane, and that's where my alpha lived. And like when he's dropped me off, he's like, I fucking love living around here, you know, when I was your age. And now I'm doing it. I told him the other day, and he's like, it's all coming back to him, like reliving his youth.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping my dad's advice serves me well, living in his place.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's probably my alpha is. Looking back, he's probably a wise man, isn't he?
Yeah, your dad is proper wise.
He's lived his life, hasn't he?
Yeah. The proper woke dads, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
definitely a generation thing. I find like now, I became a dad last year, and I think, fucking hell, am I old enough to be a dad? I'm 36, you know what I mean? But in the head, I don't, like, I'm still a bit daft, you know what I mean? I still like messing about, and yeah, I think, wow, you know, like when my granddad was 36, he was wearing kecks and ties and that, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I would have loved that though, you know, like all of us sat down in suits.
Suited and
And
boots.
like everyone walking around the streets in suits. It would have been boss, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But those people look like they've got advice. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
granddads now, like you'll be a granddad with tattoos and long hair.
Yeah,
like
that's it, yeah,
you probably haven't got any granddads like that nowadays. But that'll be a generational thing.
Yeah,
won't
yeah,
it?
definitely.
I love
yeah.
that.
If they have, they've got one like a bulldog and that, do you know what I mean? Like,
A swallow on the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, my granddad had that swallow on his chest. Boss. Dads and granddads are full of advice, aren't they?
Yeah.
Not mine.
Okay. I guess not. Shut me down, mate. Fucking hell. Look what he's got in there.
2 litre mug.
That's great.
2 litre mug. That's a coffee mug for the morning, isn't it? Yeah.
Don't know whose that is.
Do the swap.
We'll do a smooth transition to cut out the toilet break.
You sure they're 0%, lads? Fucking I'm a laugh here.
I'm smashed.
Boss,
We're
man.
for about 10 more minutes.
Yeah, I've got him.
Boss. So, and we're back in the room. Coaching corner. So, nice, effective topic this week with when will this be out? Things are starting to be open up when this is out as well. And we'll have less time. So we thought, you're a busy guy. Time management. How do you approach time management? You've got your shops, your own life. You just, like you're saying, you're a dad, you've got your brands. How do you juggle everything?
My wife.
Start saying in it
she's my
behind
diary.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, to be fair, so Jen used to work for Enterprise. You used to work for Enterprise?
Yeah, I
You
do.
say,
I feel a pain, mate.
Yeah, she worked for Enterprise, and I think it's about 2018, so what's that, 3 years ago now. Yeah, just fancied the change, and I was struggling with the business to cope with everything myself. My timing was all wrong, me banking was all wrong, everything was just a mess. And as I say, she was, working for them, like busy, crazy hours.
Can handle pressure then if she's working.
Yeah. And I thought, come and work with me. And she did, mate. And the great thing about it is, obviously we live together. We don't work together as in like we're in each other's pockets. She works from home.
Yeah.
She'll come to the shops and drop bits off and do bits within the business. So although she works with me, we're not together all day. And she does make the great thing about it is, obviously we live together. We don't work together as in like we're in each other's pockets. She works from home. She'll come to the shops and drop bits off and do bits within the business. So although she works with me, we're not together all day.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's healthy, it's great, and she manages stuff really well.
She take away a lot of your stress.
Better than I do, yeah.
Boss that.
Appointment wise, all the shops and myself, we're on an online appointment system, an online booking system. So, you know, some people go on, book their own appointments. I don't have to deal with that. All I do is get up in the morning, see who I've got in for that day. And, you know, I work my day around that. But yeah, you know, iPhones and smartphones and stuff like that just kind of make things so much easier. I can tell my phone now to book me an appointment for, you know, a couple of days' time, or and so I work like that, and, you know, I try and use technology as much as possible.
Yeah, just get everything booked in, written down.
Yeah. But, you know, sometimes jobs are last minute, and I'll have to, like I was saying to you before, I'll have to fly somewhere tomorrow, or, you know, I'll have to go somewhere in 2 days' time.
Yeah.
And that can cause problems, but the great thing is my clientele know how my job is, and, you know,
And respect that as well. Like.
Jen knows how my work works, and everyone else knows, so it always just works itself out. But, you know, having some kind of structure, I feel, is vital, especially being busy.
Yeah.
And
Even if it doesn't go to that plan, at least there's something there.
definitely,
like,
yeah. And I think it's good for your mind, you know.
Yeah.
If I do store a lot in my head, and I think sometimes I have to sit down for 5 minutes and write stuff down, or put it in my phone, because I find myself getting too busy. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, oh, what have I got on here? Or I'll miss things, and I'll forget things, and
Clears up space for the fun stuff then, doesn't it? Like
that's it.
creating and ideas. And
Yeah. And I feel like I've become more creative, like, for the brand and stuff, since I've been a little bit better with my time management.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, you know, just buzzing around everywhere with a million things going around my head. I'm using my time more wisely. So, and one of the biggest things I think of as a business owner, and, you know, in the industry I'm in, is time is money. Do you know what I mean? Like, whether I'm cutting hair or not, if I'm doing work stuff, then, you know, that's essentially for the business or for the brand. And if I'm sat procrastinating or not sure what to do with my day, then I feel like I'm wasting money and wasting time. So yeah, I do try and manage my time. I've got better at it, but as I say, that's since Jen's come on board, and, you know.
So your advice for everyone out here is to get themselves a Jen. Boss.
Yeah.
But that must work well, because I imagine, not saying we're going to get married anytime soon, we're moving into his place.
As long as I get an invite.
We're moving into his place, and, like, we've said, like, lad, it's going to be so much easier to be like, do you know what we need to do? This, rather than, like, are you free?
Yeah,
we're having a phone call miles away. But if you're just in the same space and you can just bounce ideas and that, that must be very, very effective. Actually.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And being under the same roof is great, because, you know, Jen will say to me, don't forget this tomorrow, and I'm like, oh, Christ, I forgot about that.
Boss.
Yeah. So yeah, it works well. And a joint calendar as well. I never knew about them until 6 months ago, a year ago. We've got a joint calendar, which is...
we can log into it now.
Yeah. So it's on our phones, and, like, Jen will put dates in for, you know, family day or whatever we've got to do. And that pings up on my calendar, so I can have a little look and see, you know, I've got this on, so can I do that? Or so that works really well. That's a good time management.
To get one of them, man.
Yeah. You lads will need a joint calendar.
Yeah, Big Lebowski every Friday night. Get that booked in.
Watching bar. Your place. Our place. Boss.
What do you do for
cute,
time management then?
Me personally, writing it down, absolutely. Like, you've got to write it down.
I think writing it down, absolutely.
I am. Jay was showing this off before we started. He was like, "Get on this."
Me
And I thought
coming
he was showing me the plan, but he was like, "No, my girlfriend got me this," and he was just like, "Oh, how good this is. You can write this here."
Do you know what? Like, I was
Jack's moving in. That's on his highlight.
best of the week. Highlight of the week.
Best of the week. Jack moving in.
Dear diary.
No, but even that, like, journaling, like, this week, I'm like, I'll sit there on a Sunday night and I'll go through my calendar on my phone, say I've booked clients in, or even personal stuff, like, I said I'd go for a walk with my mum, do you know, in case I forget that. And then it's like, right, I'm going to do that on this day. Oh, I could move that on that day, do you know what I mean? Rather than actually, although it may seem like you might be putting time into planning, it can be more effective, can't it? Because you know, the amount of times before I'd, like, start the planning time, I'd sit there and be like, right, I've got 101 things to do here. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
But if you say I'm going to give 1 hour to that, then you just know you're sitting down for that hour and you're doing
Definitely,
it. Planning, fail to prepare to fail. Saying scouts, innit?
Yeah, I never used to, like, before I moved out.
You go with the flow.
No, I used to just go with the flow, but, like, till I moved out, like, just little things like when you move out, when you live with your mum's, like the only thing you think
Budgeting and
about
that.
is the rent in it, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
cook all
yeah.
your foods. When like you move out, you're like, I've got to think of more stuff now. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
thinking of that has made me better with my time management, like stuff like getting a diary, writing stuff down.
Yeah.
I think writing everything down is the best way to do it, though, isn't it?
100% writing down, because once you're top of your head, your mind thinks
It's clear.
it's like you put it on a pen drive. You've took it
Yeah,
off the
yeah,
hard
yeah.
drive, put it on a pen drive. Forget about that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
sorted. Until you forget where you put that thing you put down. Yeah, but that's where you get a Jen, and she lets you know. Like, boss. Nah, writing down, writing down, that's fun. Because you see these people who are like super successful, and they've only got 24 hours in the day still, haven't they? So their time management.
Do what Mark Wahlberg does? Have you seen Mark Wahlberg?
Like, it's about 4
daily, like it's till like 2 a.m.
Yeah, I've
No,
seen
but
that, yeah.
my
Yeah.
mate, my brother's mate was saying to me, those people. Oh no, it was JJ. Those people can just get up at 2 a.m. and focus on like that movie role they're getting, because
Yeah.
everyone around them will like
Do the shit.
do the shit for them.
Oh yeah.
So
That's a
when
good
I
way to
move-
look at it. Yeah.
When I move into yours, Dad, if you want to do all the shit, I'll just focus on the podcast.
Listen, it's my place at the moment. Alright?
Wahlberg is not cooking for himself.
No way, lad. There's no way he's going shopping. No way he's doing his washing. No way, mate. No
He'd probably
way.
have somebody going, Mark, get up. You go in the gym, lads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I imagine you get to a level and you just want to be away from, like, Peter Crouch, he said it perfectly on his podcast. There was like 28 years of his life or whatever. When did he retire? Most of his life, he got told his clothes were ready for him, laid out.
Yeah.
He got told where he was going at what time. So that's why when footy players leave footy, they get lost, because like, I don't know how to do any of this because it's done
I've
for
had
me.
that conversation with quite a few of the lads, and like, and what my best mate is an agent,
Oh yeah.
a footy agent, and I've had that conversation with him, and it's so crazy.
like alien to
I
them.
can't get my head around it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, you know, you're 29, 30 years of age, and someone's still telling you like where you're going on holiday, you know, what time your flight is, like
Yeah.
when your car insurance is due, when your car service is due, when you're changing your car. They tell you everything, and I often think that, you know, you must get to 35 when you retire or however old and think, shit, what do I do? How do I book a
Yeah.
holiday? Or, you know, you must still have to use someone.
Yeah, because
to help
it's
you.
a skill you just pick up over the years.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
life
yeah.
skills, yeah.
We've got a mate who's like, even now, if he goes his way, his mum will do all his packing.
Really?
And we went away, always went, somebody went, my mum hasn't packed this. I went, what? Your mum hasn't packed it?
You need to gen him.
You do absolutely need to get yourself a Jen, hey.
So we do album.
Yeah, what was the album of the week?
So album of the week was by a whiz kid called Made in Lagos.
Yeah.
And it's an Afrobeat artist. He's actually quite big. He's been going for 10 years.
Has he, yeah?
I haven't.
I love Essence, mate.
He was
Essence
involved in One Dance, Joe by Drake.
Was he? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where got him quite. That's what made him
right,
like in
okay.
the international stage.
Blow up.
But he's quite big. But the album was made. He's from Nigeria, born and raised, and the album was obviously called Made in Lagos. It's like
Yeah.
in sort of celebration of like the culture and everything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But what I did see online, I had a little read up about stuff. It was like it celebrates cultures and brings cultures together in a way. Like I said, it's made in Lagos, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really have a Nigerian sound in a way. It's like quite a Caribbean town.
Yeah, I thought it was like reggae.
Yeah, it was quite
reggae,
reggae-ish. So it's like there was big people involved with the collab. I think Skepta was involved, weren't he?
Yeah.
Damien Marley was involved. There was a few people. Let me just write. I've got.
Let me just check my notes. See, wrote it down.
No, but just I see the thing actually. This album Made in Lagos got delayed to come out in October 2020. There was an anti-SARS protest that he wanted to get involved with, and went, I want to get involved in that with that much and be like at the forefront of it.
Was SARS like the like a terrorist group? Is that what that SARS?
No.
Oh, wasn't that? It was a virus, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Hospital,
SARS is
wasn't
like it's like Corona in a way, like COVID,
was it?
isn't it? I
Yeah.
think it's like it's linked in it a
it?
little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
just like a, yeah.
Yeah.
COVID 1 and COVID 2, I think.
Is it? Yeah.
The same, yeah.
But during COVID, wasn't there some sort of terrorist group in Africa that was like?
I'm not too sure.
We're
Like
definitely gonna have to edit this out if I just got confused here. But there was definitely some sort of like a militia type thing.
right, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm pretty sure it was called SARS. You know.
Oh, I don't know. I seen he wants to get involved in the anti-SARS protest that much. They actually delayed the album from being
Really?
being made
Oh, really?
to go and do it. But I thought the album was like
It made you feel.
It made
I
you
had it
feel.
on the bus. So
Yeah.
we had our last week's guest. She told us to play it, and I had a bus ride home. I was on the bus. Like, ooh. And then Essence come on, and I was like, wow. I can't remember what it goes like now, but I was just like, that is a tune.
I know.
She
I
said,
like
"That's
the
a
one with
tune."
Damien Marley. What was it called?
Off the top of my head.
No, just put the top one. My favourite track was Blessed with Damien Marley.
Oh yeah, that was a tune.
I thought that was a good one, but
Sick Damien Marley.
Yeah,
Boss.
I like him. Yeah, yeah.
Boss. He done that album with Nas. You remember
Yeah,
that years ago?
yeah.
That was a
that was a
boss
killer
album.
album,
That.
that, yeah.
Jay wouldn't know he's anti-hip hop.
Yeah.
Don't even.
See, that's the response he said. Are you? Yeah. No, he's not.
Nah, it was just.
He's only just opening up.
Nah, I'm not. I do like hip. Look, here we go. He does this because he knows he's going to get a reaction from me, doesn't he?
But his reaction, are you? Yeah. That's the reaction you deserve. Yeah.
It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. I do like it, but it's not me. Favorite
go-to,
genre.
yeah.
But that takes us. What is your album that we
Gonna punch me, yeah.
Mine's a Chris Stapleton album.
Yeah.
So
Didn't listen.
yeah, I've been into Chris Stapleton for a while. But I'm into country music. It's mad. I've loved America. I've always loved like the country kind of vibe of America. You know what I mean? Like
It's a beautiful
cowboy
country,
stuff. And
like-
yeah. I love all the. I've got a good mate who lives in like the Midwest in Indiana, and you know all around there, Nashville. That's my cup of tea. You know,
I can
that's
see
my-
you on a horse with a
Yeah,
hat.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah. Love Johnny Cash. Yeah.
Boss.
So what's the album called by Chris Stapleton?
I was going to listen to it, but I thought I'd listen. You said,
Edit this out.
I'll ask you again in a minute.
yeah,
It's his newest one. Starting over.
Start over.
Yeah.
starting over. So why that album? Just because is it just
Yeah,
a
it's,
banger?
I just thought, you know, if it's something that you've got to listen to, it's a great one to, you know, his newest album.
Yeah.
His first album, the first big album he released was called Traveller, and there's a song on that called Tennessee Whiskey.
Oh, what a tune that is! Is
Yeah,
that who he is?
that's Chris
I know
Stapleton, yeah,
Tennis.
yeah.
Oh, that is a tune.
So, and like obviously loads of people on The Voice and X Factor and stuff, you know, American X Factor and all that have covered it.
You've definitely heard that tune.
Yeah.
Tennessee Whiskey.
I'll probably do know it
Yeah.
like when I hear it. Yeah.
But there's a couple of songs. There's one called Either Way, or Either Way, however you'd say. And these aren't on that album. These are on other albums. But he duets with his wife, Morgan. And, oh, mate, they're incredible. Yeah.
Love that. It's proper
yeah.
country, that isn't it? Man and
Yeah,
wife is
yeah,
a duet.
yeah, that's it, yeah.
Boss that.
But yeah, it's mad because there's so many people come into the shop and they're like the lads, you know what I mean? They're not like fucking into country. You wouldn't think they were into country at all. And they've said to me, who's this?
Yeah.
And then next time I see them a month later, they're like, fucking hell, I'm a big Chris Stapleton fan, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a country music festival once a year. Obviously, it didn't happen last year. Don't think it's happening this year. But they have a massive lineup. So Chris Stapleton headlined it in 2019, March. And me and Jen went down with a couple of our mates. And we just got a day ticket. So we just went to one. It's a 3-day festival, country music festival in the O2. And the day, Jen got me tickets to Christmas. The day we went, Chris Stapleton was headlining that day.
Boss.
And since I first heard him, probably 2015, I probably got into him from then. I've always said I want to see him live, you know, and he hadn't been over here, so that, you know, to see him live.
Is he your favourite artist? Is he? Yeah.
Yeah, one of definitely, yeah. If not my favourite, yeah. There's quite a few country artists that I'm really into, but what I like about him is some of his songs don't sound like overly country, and they're the ones that people who, you know, aren't into country tend to listen to and say, I'm into that. But yes, the new album's called Starting Over, and the first song on the album's called Starting Over, and that's just a great tune. Like, it's that catchy, and you know, it's. I hope you enjoy it.
I'm gonna enjoy
I
it.
think all the country I probably listen to is like quite commercial and like quite like heartbreaking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what it's like.
Yeah.
Do you know what country tune I love? What's the name? Darius something, Wagon Wheel. You know, into
Darius
Rock
Rucker.
Me, man,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
wagon
You love that
wheel.
tune,
I
don't
love
you?
that tune.
Yeah,
Do you know what? Proper tune.
Mad
that.
story, but that's why I was in a barber. I love going to barbershops when I go to different countries.
Yeah.
On holiday, I'll look for a barbershop just to go and say hello and, you know, have a chat to the local barber or whatever.
Yeah.
Me and Jen were
Love
in Amsterdam, and I'd seen this barbershop called Barber Amsterdam, and it looked amazing inside, right up my street, you know, the decor and that.
Yeah.
So said to Jen, got to go there. I'm gonna get my beard trimmed while we're there. So went in, had a great beard trim off this fella, and Darius Rucker, Wagon Wheel was on the you know, on that was the music that was on. And I was into country then, and I'd never heard that song. And I remember coming out, remembering some of the lyrics and Googling it.
Yeah.
And from then on, I've always loved it. And it's one of them songs when I listen to it, straight away, as soon as I hear the first couple of
Takes you
notes,
back.
it takes me back to being in the barber chair, getting it, you know,
Well,
a
I've
beard
got a
trim.
similar story, not as exotic as Amsterdam, like, but I give my mate and a few of his mates a lift. We were going somewhere, and he was like, I'll bring these. And then we were in the car, and he was like, pass your phone. And he put it on, and him and 3 of his mates in the back were absolutely, you know, Keith Turner, they were absolutely belting it out. And I was
Wagon
like,
Wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were like, right, all 3 of them, like, the lads. And I was like,
110 double that.
yeah, I was just like,
Well,
I was like, who's this? And he was like, proper country tune. But me mate Key, he'd done Camp America, and it was a bit like Camp America, but he moved around, like, he'd live with a family for like 3 weeks, footy coaching, then move on to another state.
Yeah.
And he said he must have went to like 5 or 6 family parties over there with the family he lived with, and every party he said that's the tune they get on. He said it's like Deacon Blue, like in Liverpool, do you know what I mean? Like they'll get it on at the end, and the whole family are up, And then since then they all got out, and I was like, let's put that back on there. I was like, but it's a proper tune. I love it.
Oh, it's a boss tune.
You're gonna have to get it is, isn't it? Just get you feeling good. Country is good, man. Country is good. It's proper overlooked, isn't it? Some people like country, but it's successful.
Yeah, and in the States it's mad because when I was around, like where my mate lives in Indiana, and you know, we were going to bars and they'd have country on and stuff, and people obviously picked up on the fact that I was from over here.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, what do you think of this music? And I was like, this is my music, you know, this is me, I'm into this, And they were like, do you have country in the UK? I'm like, yeah, you know, there's more and more country artists coming over here. I think the likes of Country to Country, and Bob Harris on Radio 2 does a country hour. I think it's a Thursday night at 7 o'clock.
I think.
Yeah.
I think. Don't know. I'm not waiting to get out of here.
I've got to record it.
Gotta go, Boss, that. So is country growing in the UK, is it?
I feel like it is, yeah. Like, when I first got into it, I think Jen got me into it. I'd heard country music before I met Jen, but she got me into the likes of the Dixie Chicks and, you know, a wider variety of country and people that I'd never heard of. She kind of exposed me to, but as I say, it's definitely grown, because I remember looking for gigs and that back then, thinking, oh, you know, we should go and see a country band, and there's nothing really about. But now, as I say, if you search online, there's always gigs and festivals going on country.
Get to one,
such a good vibe as well. Everyone's just,
I can imagine it's a good vibe.
Feel good, like family vibe.
Yeah,
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
In some place.
Someplace in Bootle.
Someplace in Bootle, yeah. Someplace in Bootle.
Just come out wrong now. But yeah,
That's the title of the episode.
that is the title of the episode. Someplace in Bootle, man.
but do you know what I forgot to bring? The dad
joke book.
Do you have any dad jokes, Pete, off the cuffs?
Because you are. This is how we end every podcast, with a dad joke. You can Google if you want, but you are a dad.
We usually have 2 books and I've left them in my room.
We've got dad jokes and then all new dad jokes. That was a Christmas present of our mate Gad.
Cat jokes.
You've got to get up to scratch with these now. You're a dad, Pete.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're in the playground. The other
Most famous breed of dog?
Don't know.
A Labrador. Shit, that innit?
Love that, I love that. What a perfect way to end. That's like your one about the owl.
We'll cut this out, but what's Britain's most popular owl?
Oh.
The tea towel.
Yeah, keep that. We'll cut
I
that
said
out.
it last week.
So say it every week. That was boss. That was, honestly, that was one of my favourite episodes.
Yeah?
It's been...
It's not finished yet.
I know, I'm about to say no, and I was about to say, and we end every podcast with what we learned this week, but numbnuts here.
Go on, you take it away.
Numbnuts. You've killed me for that there, you know. So that was a fantastic episode. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you, appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
We end every week, Jay, don't we? With what we learned this week. What have you learned this week?
That my nan got married in some place in Bootle.
If you're struggling for time, get yourself a gen.
Yeah, get yourself a gen.
I've learned that.
We're looking up, aren't we? Yeah. Sound like Jimmy Carr sometimes. So